Hello students, we are going to go through and do a live tracing for using an iPad and creating a color ribbon. So here is the image that I have, and I'm going to use Procreate to do this. You're going to be able to see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I want a new layer. I want to turn it to a multiply. And this is going to be one of the templates that's in there. And we'll maybe play around with it a little bit. So I've got a nice brush. We've got to make it small. It's going to be above this. I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to turn the opacity down so when we draw it's very easy to see. And we're going to make our brush opacity dark. So if I start to draw, you can see it. Okay, something like that. I can do something where I do this and then I hold that line and it creates a line and it makes a straight segment. So this is what I call the lead edge. And the lead edge is the edge on the front side towards us. And if I just kind of can even get this to be more perfect like that. I can even edit the shape, play with the curve. Let's make it go up a little bit higher. Let's go like that. Then I'll hit outside. Now I'm going to swoop under, do the same thing. Let's do edit this shape. So we can A, move it around so that it touches, and B, we can edit how it looks where it touches. Something like that I think is good. All right. So if we make this disappear, this is the lead edge we have. And we can pick a vanishing point and create the width. So I'm going to just make a little dot over here, right? So I'm going to change the color. I'm going to make a very light kind of like orangey color. These are going to be my guidelines. So if I go from this point to there, there's one guideline. I'm going to go from the edge here to that same point. And if I hold on this with Procreate, what it does is it lets me edit those shapes. I can even take this guy and move it back down so that it touches. I'm just going to eyeball this one that's underneath. Even if I don't make it straight, if I hold it, it will go straight. Like that, and then this one will go something like that. So now I have my guidelines, and what I want to do is copy this same front edge and show my width. So let's go back to like our darker gray, and I can decide how wide I want it. I can draw them all at once, or I can draw them in different places. So I'm going to just start, let's say right here. And this same angle that this first segment at the top is at, that kind of angle, that's what I want to get. So I'm just going to hold it, get it straight. That's good. And what I can do is measure from here with my finger and my pen to here and see how deep that is. And if I can measure that distance, then I can do the same distance for this segment here and how far back it should go. So I'm going to double tap a few times to make those disappear, and I'm going to physically measure this. And it tells me that the next one should be about there. And if I take that same measurement, I can measure this here. It tells me that this curve should happen about here. And I'm going to be moving forward with this one. So that can't be 100% right because this is where this should be, and that should be behind it. So it's going to go maybe more like this. Now I can just quickly take my eraser and get rid of those guidelines where I don't need them. And what's up front here, this is my, drawing of the thickness of the ribbon. And then I'm going to take this and get a really light gray, make it more gray, less orange. And I can drop that into, that shape is not closed. So what we want to do, let's zoom in. Let's make sure that the shape is closed completely on all the sides. Now let's try. There we go. That's what we want. Hopefully this other one is too. Nope, it is not. It's part to do with the brush. The brush has some opacity to it. There we go. That's kind of what we want. And now we can look at this whole thing and we can start to do the same thing that we did with the entire width we can do with each strip and decide how wide we want it to be. Let's say I want the first strip to be this wide. Okay? So these are roughly the same angle. Well, then I just measure from here to here physically. And you can do this with a pencil as well. And once I measure that, then I can just do this again and decide that this is about where that next part is. It's not an exact science. It's about an inch, something like that. So there's my first color. And so the color that's going to happen is going to go inside of that. Okay? That's at least what I hope. If I want to do the next one, maybe the next one's going to be a smaller, thinner strip. So it's easier to draw this because it's going to be pretty close to the other one. That wasn't very good. Let's try that again. There we go. I like that better. There we go. Now I have 1, 2, and I need to draw a third. We can kind of make it, let's put it right in between these other two, right here. Well, let's try that one more time. I want a different angle. There we go. That's better. I feel like that's closer to the right angle. So then this one maybe would go right in between those two. And this other one, this might be a little bit harder to get, but something like that. Okay. Now, if I divide this last one, maybe I'll put it just next to this other one here so that that last edge is a little bit farther away. And maybe this is going to need to come down a little bit like that to match everything. We'll erase that in a second. So grab my eraser, get rid of this bit right there. Just like that, I now have a thumbnail of what my thing's going to look like. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different areas where I can go through and put in color. If you're going to go with something that moves in this direction, then you want your light source to come in the opposite direction. So diagonal down from the other side. That way you can know where your highlights are going to be, where your shadows are going to be, and you can start to kind of build that in. So I'm going to create this. I'm going to get rid of some of this. And I'm going to erase these guys. That's it for this one. I will turn this into a nice little template and it'll be ready for you to use if you want it. And basically you'll take this and turn it into kind of your own thing. You can kind of start to move some of this around, but this is a decent template for a very simple color ribbon. So happy painting and we'll see you soon.